Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into the new Charlotte Tilbury limited edition holiday quads that she recently launched. You guys know I can never resist a Charlotte Tilbury product, period. Charlotte Tilbury is one of my favorite brands, and I just am always attracted to the overall aesthetics of the brand, and I just always really love and enjoy her makeup. So when I saw these two quads, I definitely had to pick it up. So we're going to dive into each one of the quads today. I'm going to create looks using each one of them. And then of course we will do some swatches and also some comparisons. And then later on in the video, I will get into my final thoughts. So let's first start with the palette that launched first. So as many of you guys know, the Celestial Pearl launched first, and I have had this for a minute, and I could have uploaded my review of this palette alone, but I decided to wait for the other palette so that I could do both of them together. So this is called the Celestial Pearl, and this is called the Cosmic Pearl. So both of these palettes retail for $56. So I went ahead and picked up them, and I have a lot to say about both these palettes. I secretly was kind of hoping that she would bring back the Fire Rose palette, because to this date, that is my favorite quad of all of my Charlotte Tilbury quads, and I have a few. But these two are very special in their own way because they have a duochrome shadow in them. So Charlotte Tilbury is not known for her duochromes. In fact, I don't ever remember ever having a palette that has a duochrome shadow in it from Charlotte Tilbury. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I could be wrong, but I personally don't think I have any duochromes from Charlotte Tilbury. So I was very intrigued by that. So this is the Celestial Pearl, and as you'll notice, this shadow right up here, this is her duochrome. And this one has a little bit of a glittery type of duochrome in it. So you can kind of see the shifts in it, but it's got a lot of sparkle and a lot of shine. It has a lot of sparkle and a lot of shine, but it also has those shifts. So I would say you have some iridescent pinks and some greens, light greens, like a really light kind of yellow green, like a pearl. If you can imagine in your mind what it would look like to spread out a pearl and like lay it flat, I feel like this is what it would look like. It has those shifts in it, but it's a very soft, subtle shift. Same goes for the Cosmic Pearl. So right down here at the bottom is the duochrome in this palette. And this one is also very, very subtle and has some beautiful shifts to it, but it's not a super strong duochrome. If you're somebody that loves a duochrome shadow from Pat McGrath or Natasha Denona, you might be disappointed in this because these are both very subtle. So this one in the Celestial Pearl, it's got more of a sparkle to it. It's got a little bit more of a glitter base to it. This one is just a straight up like creamy duochrome shadow, but it gives some shift, but on a very subtle way. I could not imagine Charlotte Tilbury, just in her overall brand, creating a very strong duochrome. These are both very, very subtle, very, very beautiful. Now, me on a personal level, I'm not like super comfortable with duochromes, and it kind of has to be that look. It has to be that moment or that outfit or something for me to wear a duochrome. As far as a duochrome shadow goes, these are more appealing and more wearable for me on a personal level. But just so that you guys know, if you love like Pat McGrath's really strong, beautiful duochromes, this might not live up to that. But for me, these are right up my alley. So that's all of the details on both of these palettes from Miss Charlotte Tilbury. Let's go ahead and jump into the application. So I'm going to do a look with each one of the palettes. And then of course I will get into the swatches, and I will also compare them to other products that I have in my collection, and then we will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so let's jump into the tutorial using the Celestial Pearl. So I've had this for a minute. This is the first time I've even opened it because I have really wanted to save this until I got the second palette. The second palette just launched today, so I ordered it. It's on its way, hopefully very soon. What I can say is this palette does not have a lot of depth. I mean, you can clearly see that just by looking at it. The darkest shade in the palette is this like bronzy gold. And that is how it looks swatched. Very interesting textures. They are very, very beautiful. I'm going to take this Sonia G soft shader brush and I'm going to go into this right here. Now that picks up a lot of product like that. I mean, that's a lot of product. So I'm going to tap off and I'm going to kind of just bring that out here on this outer corner and just kind of blend it into the crease and then bring it out on the lid. Go into it twice to see if I can get it to kind of build up on top of itself. It's just going to be a very glowy eye look. If I was going to use this on a regular basis, I would definitely use a matte shade with this because I feel like I need something to give me some depth. I don't have any depth. All right, I'm going to take the Smith 253 brush and I'm really curious to see what this shade looks like. It's got some glitter, doesn't it? It's like a straight up glitter. That one's more of a topper. I shouldn't have put that on. That's more of a topper shade. So let's go into this shade right here. The lid. Kind of bringing it up and into the crease because with a palette like this, it's going to be a very, very shimmery eyeshadow look. Kind of make it blend into that. That is a pretty color though, right? Okay, now I'm going to grab this shade right here and go back over top of that one more time just to kind of give it something. So I'm actually going to grab a little bit of my bronzer. I just feel like I need something. Today I was using the Glowish bronzer in the shade Deep Tan from Huda Beauty. I'm going to go right in the middle, put that like right out here on the outer corner, kind of over top. See how much that gave it a little bit of color, didn't it? I didn't lose the shine from that bronzy shade, but it gave me just a little bit of definition that I was missing from that shade. So if you have a lighter skin tone than I do, you may not need to go into a bronzer. Okay, so I had to take a brief break because my daughter came home. We've been chatting. Okay, so where was I? So I went ahead and went off camera. I put some concealer on. I'm actually going to use the same brush. I'm going to use the soft shader from Sonia G. I'm going to grab this bronzer shade. And I'm going to grab this bronzy shade right here and just bring it here on the lower lash line. Very, very glowy. Very, very glowy. But it's really actually quite pretty. I'm going to go back to the Smith 253 brush and I'm going to go into this shade right here. Put it right here on the center to kind of make it pop. It's definitely a pop shade, isn't it? I'm going to grab a pencil brush and I'm going to put this on the inner corner right here. Just a tiny, tiny bit. Well, maybe a little tiny bit. I'm going to bring a little bit of that on the brow bone. Okay, so I went ahead and threw on the rest of my makeup. This is the final look. And because I'm wearing this like really kind of corally, peachy color, big chunky sweater, I decided to pull out one of my favorite lip cheeks from Chantecaille. This is called Capucine, and it's a beautiful orangey coral color. And to be honest, this is a perfect shade to wear with an eye look like this. Because the eye look is just more soft, you can add a pop of color, right? So I just threw on some mascara. I did put on a little bit of brown eyeliner right at the base of my lashes just to give a little tiny bit of depth there at the lashes. I have a lot to say about this quad, which of course I will save that for my final thoughts. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the tutorial using the Cosmic Pearl palette. And then we will get into the swatches and comparisons, and I will see you guys all in my final thoughts. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial using the Cosmic Pearl. I've been waiting for this beautiful palette to arrive, and it is very pretty to look at, and I really love these tones. This, I would assume, is the star of the show. When I swatched it, it is exactly the kind of duochrome shade that I like. So if you've been with me for a while, I'm not like really, really big on these strong duochrome, like holographic shadows. I mean, we all know that Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona, they're like the queens of creating those just beautiful duochromes. This is more my duochrome speed. I'm going to be honest with you. This is much softer and just, I'm excited to play with this. I really am. I'm going to use this shade first, and I'm going to use that kind of as the main color. So I'm going to grab the BK Beauty A504. This is from the Angie from Hot and Flashy collaboration. So I'm going to grab this shade. Typical Charlotte Tilbury, looks really beautiful, blends out really easily, and it's a pretty shadow. Oh, I'm going to kind of use that as the base color, but I'm not going to go in too deep. So I'm just going to kind of put it all over the lid. Next, I'm going to grab this little teeny brush from Makeup by Mario. This is the E5. And I'm going to go into this dark shade. So I'm going to kind of bring this here on the outer corner just to kind of define it. Now I'll go back into that shimmer shadow I was using and use the shimmer shadow to kind of blend this out. Now, I'm not too worried about the outer corner because I am going to kind of cut it and clean it up. I am going to grab the Smith 253 and I'm going to go into this shade. I'm going to first go in dry and see what kind of pigment we get. Now I'm going to go in with my finger. So I'm going to grab my finger and go across it like this. Press it. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned up and put some concealer on. Now I kind of have this sharp line, which I'll blend that out in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the lower lash line. So I'm going to grab the Refer number 26 brush and I'm going to go into this shadow right here. And I'm going to bring that along the lower lash line. And then I'm going to kind of blend this into this outer corner, kind of get rid of that sharp line. Now I'm going to take my flat definer from Sigma and I'm going to go into this dark shade right here. And I'm going to smoke that into the lower lash line. Now, I'm also going to do that on the upper lash line, right at the base of the lashes. Now I'm going to take the flat definer from Sonia G and I'm going to grab this shade right here. And I'm going to place it like right over top of that duochrome. I might ruin it though, but I really like to add a little bit of that like extra oomph. I'm going to bring that on the brow bone. And then also on the inner corner. Okay, so I'm back. This is the final look using the Cosmic Pearl palette. I did go ahead and pair it with these three lip items. So I grabbed the lip liner in the shade Walk of Shame from Charlotte Tilbury. When I put it on, it was a little bit too red toned. It had kind of a red base to it. So I grabbed my Tom Ford lip liner in the shade Instigate number 18. I actually picked this up on sale for like 20 bucks and it came in handy today. It's a really pretty like dark purple color. So that's the color of that. And so when I put it over top of the Walk of Shame lip liner, it kind of turned into this really pretty color that kind of matched the color that's in the palette. So it worked out pretty good. And because I wanted a little bit of sparkle on the lip, I went ahead and grabbed my Charlotte Tilbury This is the Pillow Talk Diamond, and it is really, really pretty. So that's what's on my lips, in case any of you guys were wondering. So that's it for the look. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. I'm going to swatch these two palettes and also compare them to other palettes. And then we will go ahead and jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, everyone, now that we've made it through the swatches and comparisons, let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. I actually really like both of these palettes. I personally do. Even though this palette, which is the Celestial Pearl, this palette doesn't have a lot of dimension, but it has very special shades. So I'm okay with having to grab other palettes to create just a little bit of dimension because the shadows are really beautiful and very special. I've used it a few times since I filmed my look with it, and I've noticed the more that I use it, the more I like it. It was almost like the first time that I used it, I wasn't like fully in love with it, but now that I've used it a few times, I actually like it more than I thought. Is this palette necessary? Absolutely not. You probably have similar shades to these shadows in different palettes. Maybe not all in one, but you probably have them in other palettes, individual palettes. The packaging on these are really cute, and I think if you love Charlotte Tilbury and you love her quads, I think you'll enjoy this. But they are very beautiful and very easy to work with, and I really like them. I do. Now, the Cosmic Pearl, I like this palette, but I think I might use this palette less than I will the Celestial Pearl. I feel like this palette, even though it has this duochrome, that's the only shade in the palette that kind of stands out. The other three shades are just kind of what we're used to getting from her. Deciding which one to go with between these two, this Celestial Pearl is just much more sparkly. You know, it's got some sparkle, it's got a little bit of that glitter in it. And this one is definitely more soft, more subtle, and a little bit more sophisticated, I would say. But this one's got more of like the satin matte textures to it. So this is a solid matte shadow right here, and both of these are like a satin matte where they have that shimmer, but they blend and work like a matte. The one thing that I will mention is that because I went in with this shadow first, this did not provide a lot of depth. So if you're somebody that really wants to build maybe an evening look and you're wanting to add some depth on the outer corner, I would recommend going in with the darker shade first and really build up that depth, and then use this shadow to blend it out maybe in the crease and just add a little bit of lightness to it. Because putting this on first and then going over top of it with this, I didn't achieve a ton of depth. So going in the reverse would be the way to go if you're looking for some depth from the Cosmic Pearl. This Celestial Pearl, if you're looking for a little bit of a special formula and you're okay with reaching into other palettes to wear these shadows, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this one. I really wish we'd get the Fire Rose palette back, Charlotte. Like, I know that she's not going to watch this video, but we like need to start like a hashtag, bring Fire Rose back. So many of my followers are waiting for Fire Rose to come back. She's so special. I don't use it very much, and I really hate that. I don't know. I love the palette so much that I'm afraid I'm gonna like reach pan, like hit pan on it, and I don't know. You know how that is. This shade right here is like nothing we've ever seen from Miss Charlotte Tilbury. This is like a foil. I mean, it is so beautiful, and every time I use it, wow. I mean, Charlotte, it's so pretty. Yikes, it's pretty. I mean, this shadow right here, oh, dang it, they're just, yeah, very, very special. Very, very special shadows. And they really make the eye just pop. So we need to start a hashtag, bring Fire Rose back. Hashtag, bring Fire Rose back, because this is a beautiful quad. So here's my thing. Since she created the Fire Rose palette, it's been really hard to beat that one for me personally. It's still my favorite quad, but these are really special. Are they fully necessary? No, but I think if you get them, I don't think you'll be disappointed because I do think they're really pretty. The packaging, in my opinion, is the best that I've seen from Charlotte Tilbury, and I've seen a lot of great packaging from her, and these quads are absolutely stunning. In fact, when you look at them, the light, I mean, look at the way the light reflects off of the little marbly spots in it. I mean, they are just so beautiful. So those are my overall thoughts. Sound out down below in the comment section. Have you guys bought these palettes? And if you have, share with us your experience, especially if it differs from mine. You guys know I always really like to have your feedback because it's just as important as anyone else coming on behind a camera and sharing their thoughts. So definitely share with us in the comment section down below. I hope that this review was helpful. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Love you. Bye.